presentations, in my career, and most of the time, even now, because I'm a trainer. So as a trainer, I have to go and sell to companies, large organizations. Sometimes we've got panels of 10 to 11 decision makers in one classroom, in one room. So with that, the years of experience, I realized that we cannot just simply talk and see if people will be convinced. So there were some adjustments that I did in my presentations, and how to see if people could be convinced a little bit better. So with all those 25 years, then I decided, because of this the COVID-19 issue, lockdown, and 3 months ago, and we just feel that everybody has to do all of this online now. It's a little bit different from face-to-face presentations, because there they can see us, full body, and we can look at their faces. We can do a lot of things that we sometimes are limited in online presentations. Anyway, in my career, I have trained 9 out of the 10 local banks, basically teaching them how to present to their clients, because banking services, it's transactional banking, business banking, credit cards, housing loans, hire purchase, those kind of things. And then, of course, many other industries that I have trained, pharmaceuticals, and, you name it. There's tons and tons of them. So with all of those years of experience, and getting rejected, and beating my head against the wall all the time, why are people not buying from me? Then, after a while, I realized that, it wasn't their fault. I was the one at fault. I was not engaging at all. I was not really convincing them. And I didn't really understand what drove them, what made them, want my service. So then went back to the drawing board and tried to figure it out, and then ultimately realized that, yes, there are certain aspects of my presentation that needed to be improved. And then once I'd made those improvements, then all of a sudden my list of clients started growing. And to the point where now, if I look back, I've got in my profile, I've got more than almost 75 to 80 large organizations. Some of them are Fortune 500 organizations, who have gone through my training on, a lot of salespeople. I show them how to present their product, how to convince people to buy. Ultimately, it's persuasiveness, how to persuade people, how to convince people, how to actually enter their brain and then understand what they are thinking, and then customize my presentation on the spot. So that I can go accordingly. This takes a lot of skills, a lot of things that we need to really understand. Things like, asking questions and trying to figure out what they want, asking the right questions, and then, a level of empathy, trying to understand that. Anyway, I'll be going through all of that in this session. Let's see, very quickly. First of all, I would like to go ahead and set the expectations for this particular session. In this 1 hour session, of course, we will end up addressing a few things. However, of course, we cannot say this is of 1 full day or 2 full days of training, which covers every single aspect of skills that you need to engage and convince. However, this will probably give you a very good overview. So let's see. The first thing what we will, I'd like for you guys to understand is that, please, your expectations need to be very clear, and also at the same time reasonable. Because 1 hour doesn't do what a 1-day training program does. However, in this 1 hour, we will definitely try to create a certain level of awareness for you. So an overview of what makes an engaging and convincing presentation. We need to really talk about that. What really does, because this is where, I made the mistake in my first, year of 1 year or first 2 years of my career in terms of, in selling. And then I asked this question, what makes an engaging presentation? Then I realized, oh my God, I'm making a lot of mistakes. Okay. Then also, understanding your audience. Like, if you guys notice that in the last 10 minutes, we were having a quick discussion as to, and I asked my friend Nick Faris as to, what is the nature of your presentation? What do what are you presenting? What are the, challenges that you face? So we need to understand that. So before I go further, if I'd like to ask you guys to do me a favor and type in the chat box one challenge. Each person, please type in the chat box one challenge or two challenges that you currently face or you feel the reason, and that would be the reason why you wanted to attend this 1 hour session. So would it be possible if you can kindly do that? I'll give you guys 1 minute. Go ahead and type inside the Zoom chat your challenge or the reason why you feel this would be something that you need to learn. In terms of convincing people, whether you're trying to engage them, convince them, getting them to buy something or whatever. What challenges do you face? 1 minute to talk in front of camera. Nick Faris says challenge is to talk in front of camera. I understand that because we normally need to see the people, see their expression. Nick, I understand what you mean. This is actually a very solid challenge, la bro. Definitely. What I normally do is instead of looking at, sometimes I will look in the screen at your face. Sometimes I'll look in the camera just to have some eye contact. And then of course there are to gauge, Sharifa says to gauge the audience's attention on our presentation. How to gauge their attention, how to figure out whether they actually understand or they're even listening to you. So that definitely, Sharifa, I'm right there with you. I understand how you feel. I'm actually in your brain right now because this was a problem I also had when I started out in my corporate sales career. My God, I've been selling all these years. I think, my brain is packed with all this information. Somebody needs to put a gauge there and understand. Okay, Xiaomei to gauge participants. Anybody else who'd like to give some feedback as to what is the reason why you feel that this session would be good for you? Making sense of value and create belief. All right, very good. Chad, I feel you're probably trying to say that getting people, please say yes or no if I'm right. What you're saying is trying to get people to understand the value of your service or your product or your presentation. Am I right? Okay, all right, yeah, because trying to get people to understand the value has a lot to do with your understanding of your own product or service. And of course, what are the features and benefits of your service, and what a lot of times why people don't see the value is simply because of the fact that we are talking about something else and they are thinking something else. If the moment we can put those two together, what we are presenting and what they are thinking, we put those two together, only then we are able to create that value, sense of value. If I've got a headache, and somebody gives me a pill for diabetes, of course, there's no value. That pill for diabetes has absolutely no value if I've got a headache. All right. Naz is saying convincing customers. Absolutely. Convincing customers actually doesn't have much to do with flowery language and saying all of that. Convincing customers has everything to do with understanding what they need. Talking their language, like they say, what's in it for me? So if the customer can get the idea that what's in it for me in this presentation, they will be convinced if they are in the market to buy or if they need your product. Edney Suhaila says, my challenge when I see participants starts to yawn. Okay, Edney, I understand that. Why people start to yawn is because whatever I mentioned just now, is that they are thinking something else, they were expecting something else, and we were telling them something else. So ultimately, the idea is to probe, asking questions to get them engaged, asking the right questions, leading questions, questions that lead them to think about their problem. When let's say, for example, if you go to the doctor and you say, doc, I have a headache. So the doctor has one of two options. He can either say, here is Panadol, go ahead and take it. So what they're doing is they're taking care of firefighting. They're taking care of, just the immediate issue. But if the doctor starts asking me questions, what are your sleeping habits? How high is your pillow? Do you have high blood pressure? Let me check your blood pressure. So when the doctor does all of that, then I start cooperating with him because I know that he's trying to get to the root of my problem. So that's where I stop yawning. Ultimately, the yawning only happens when we are not talking what they want to hear. Okay. So that would be that. And then of course, Rose Haya says fussy customer. All right. Fussy customers, basically people get fussy simply because they are not hearing what they want to hear. That's why they get fussy. Sometimes they have some requests that we are not, fulfilling. But all of that, of course, has to do with, our abilities to understand our customer a little bit more. Anyway, so we also have to, of course, like what I just did with you guys is the last sentence you see there, understanding your audience. Okay, this is exactly what I did. I asked you questions, you guys gave me feedback, and of course, because you gave me feedback, you automatically became engaged. And then when you told me the issue or the challenge you are facing, now you are engaged because you want to hear the answer. So, but if I only start talking about presentation skills, all the different skills you need, that will probably make you yawn. So it all has to do with talking your language. Whatever issues you are facing need to be addressed by my presentation. And the same thing I'm going to try to show you is whatever issues your customers or your audience is going through, the moment you start talking about those issues, automatically you are engaging them. All right, let's look at this next one, targeting the audience's left and right brain. Okay. Can somebody tell me what that means? Can somebody tell me what does that mean? Targeting your audience's left and right brain. What are we talking about here? Anybody, just Zoom chat. You can either that or you can unmute and talk. I'd like to know how far you understand the idea of left and right brain. And if you don't understand, don't worry about it. I also didn't know. I also had to do some research to find out what this is. Okay, since I don't have any answers, left brain is basically, our left brain is talking about logic, all the numbers and mathematics, how much money I'm going to save, what is the cost, how much product, what is the quality of the product, everything that is logical. And the right brain is more about, pleasing to the eye, beautiful, love, romance, night sky, the moon is beautiful, oh, your slides are so attractive looking. That is the right brain. So what I'm going to try to show you is to engage customers or engage your audience in such a way that you are appealing to both sides of their brain. In other words, you are also convincing them through logic, and you're also convincing them through the right brain, which is, the beauty of everything, the peace of mind and the relaxation and things of that nature. So in other words, emotions and logic. We need to be able to appeal to both of these senses, left and right, so that we, like, let's say, suppose your presentation only shows numbers, right? So if you're trying to show them, 50% discount, the price used to be this and now it is this. We will send you extra 300 pieces of our product. So when you're doing that, you're only appealing to the left side of the brain, which basically means you are only at a 50% level. 50%, you're only convincing them at a 50% level, which means you are actually losing the sale while you are trying to make the sale. So what we need to do is we need to show them all the numbers, yes, because we are appealing to the left-hand side. But at the same time, we want to appeal to the right-hand side. Then we will say, when you use my product or when you use my service, you will enjoy a lot of peace of mind. You will be more relaxed. You will look good in the eyes of your bosses if you choose our company to do this for your company. When you do that, you are appealing to the emotional side. So in a presentation, we need to appeal to both. Okay, and then of course, let's move on to designing slides that create visual impact. Nowadays, every single presentation that I've seen is supported by slides. All right, so slides have to appeal to the left and the right side of the brain. My slides must not only contain numbers. My slides must also contain some visual, something visual that is pleasing to the eye. Something that has nice colors, something that is not too loud in colors that people want to close their eyes. we want to be able to make sure that both the pleasing to the eye and pleasing to the brain on the left side, both sides are going in the same parallel alignment. When we do that, we actually get them to focus on what we are saying. Ultimately, that's our focus. That's what we want. And then commanding an executive presence through your body language while you present online. You know, if I was not an experienced presenter, I would be actually like this, you know. This is how I would be talking to you guys. And I'm trying to sell to you my product. My hands are down. I have absolutely no body language. So can somebody type in the Zoom chat, if I was to present like this, would you be interested in listening to me for one whole hour when I'm like this? Just say yes or no in the Zoom chat, please. So you can see that there are, yeah, too distant. Definitely everybody's saying no. Absolutely. It's all about executive presence, guys. Executive presence. You know, use your voice. You know, we will talk about how to do that. And I have a slide for you which I have developed for the body language part. But ultimately, of course, that's the reason why I'm asking you to expect this from this 1 hour. Okay, so commanding an executive presence, you have to tell yourself, first of all, you have to convince yourself that you are a successful executive, you know. So when you feel that about yourself, that's where you have all that confidence, you know. And everything that people get engaged on or get convinced with, everything has to do with confidence, you know. If they see you with all kinds of confidence in your product or service, they want to listen to you. You know, that's why we go through not only product training or not only, sales training, we also go through mindset transformation training. We teach people how to boost their confidence. So all of that has to do with how do you develop confidence? You develop confidence by understanding your own product, knowing everything about, what we call product knowledge. When you have knowledge and when you know that no matter what question anybody asks you, you have the answer. You know, when you have that, that's when you have the confidence to present. Okay, let's look at, and of course, towards the end of this hour, we will have a short Q&A session to see if, if you guys would like further information or you want more, more knowledge. I'll be here towards the end of the session. Okay, now, first things first. I would like to ask you guys this question. There's no question mark there, but I want to ask you this question. In your opinion, because I've given you some ideas already in the previous slide, in your opinion, what makes a solid presentation? What makes a presentation that engages people, convinces people? Can you tell me? Just go ahead and type inside the Zoom chat. Tell me, because this blue box, I have some answers there. Okay, Chad says strong opening statement. Absolutely. And Chad, this strong opening statement actually has to do with everything that the customer wants, What makes a solid, engaging presentation? Okay, that would be Sue Boy's question. All right, strong opening is very important, and the strong opening, like I mentioned, has to do with what the customer wants. We need to do a lot of research before we do the presentation. We need to go to the customer's website. We need to type in Google all kinds of questions about that company. We need to see what their goals and aspirations are, let's say for this year. We need to understand all of that. This is something, I'll give you an example. I recently trained UOB Bank, SME banking team. So their customers, of course, everybody wants to generate revenue, grow revenue. They want to go into a new marketing campaign and try to, increase the number of salespeople. All of those things, those are their objectives. So my opening statement, what I taught them how to do was to just talk about that. Hi, good morning. I'm so-and-so calling from UOB Bank. I understand I'm just doing some research on your company, and I realized that this year you want to increase value to your customers and you also want to generate 10 to 15% more revenue. Am I right, sir? When we do that, the customer says, hey, this guy is talking my language. So he says, yeah, sure. What do you want to know? So the opening is very important and very good, very good. Chad, I'm very impressed with your feedback. And then KH Kong says, offers me value. Absolutely. So definitely a presentation needs to have a strong opening. It needs to create value for the customer or whoever you're presenting to. You know, this session is also not only for salespeople, it's also for those people who are within your organization. You need to conduct presentations, maybe a sales report, or maybe a finance department is doing finance report, the company's performance in the last 1 month or whatever. All of those are also presentations that need to be, we need to be skilled in order to do that. Okay, here is my opinion of what makes an engaging presentation, guys. Okay, first one is interesting and relevant content. And if you see the percentage there, this is, suppose your presentation is 100%, and if your presentation is interesting and relevant. Interesting has to do with, you know, the right brain, the pleasing to the eye and all that. And then relevant content has to do with the left side of the brain. In other words, we are covering emotions and logic together. That's 38% of your of the convincing power in your presentation. Edney Sohaila gave a comment here. Talking participants' language, does it mean I need to learn their language, as some of my participants are foreign workers? Actually, Edney, I was talking about when we say talking somebody's language, talking the participant's language means how they think, not about the actual language, like, you know, Pakistani worker, Indian worker, Bangladeshi worker, this kind of, no, not those languages. It's not an actual language. I'm talking about how the customer is thinking, and I think and talk accordingly. That's talking the customer's language is just an expression that says we talk about things that they want to hear. Okay, so that's what this is all about. All right, so interesting and relevant content is very important. If you are trying to sell your product, and you've slide upon slide, you know, describing your product, but if your description is not relevant to what the customer really wants, then the yawning will begin, guys. They will start. They will, you know, it's just not going to work. Like if I'm talking to a client who wants to, you know, let's say the head of sales, you know, department director of sales in a company, because I'm a sales trainer also. So if I'm talking to that person, my relevance or interesting, how I'll make it interesting is by asking him, are you having trouble with sales targets? Do you feel that your people are not confident when they sit in front of a client and try to sell? Do you feel that your people require product knowledge, or do you feel they require some selling skills and some confidence and boosting of self-esteem? So when I ask these questions, this is relevant to the director of sales. So the moment if he says yes to my questions, then I will simply address each one of those issues: developing confidence, increasing selling skills, how they will be able to reach and sometimes surpass their targets. So I will just be talking about that so that I make it relevant, because I now know 38% of my presentation is about interesting and relevant content. Okay, KH Kong says it should help solve my problems, if any. Absolutely. A presentation is basically a problem solver. I have a slide coming up soon that addresses that. KH Kong, once again, I'm very impressed with what you just mentioned, simply because I actually have a slide that addresses this completely. Okay, then 32% of your presentation is high energy, you know. If you are passionate about your service or product, I don't know if you notice, but I've got goosebumps, you know, when I talk about these things, because I'm very passionate about this, and you might see the energy. Okay, if you guys can type in the Zoom, yes or no, if you feel that until now, the presentation is high energy or not. Could you please type that, yes or no? Do you feel there is energy in this presentation? Okay, KH Kong, yes, with an exclamation mark. Yes, definitely, yes. Okay, all right, thank you very much, and thanks for the feedback. Ultimately, if I can talk about what matters to you, and Edney, that's what it is, you know, speaking somebody's language. I need to talk about what matters to you the most. That means I'm talking your language. So if I can do that, and at the same time, I can show you that I personally I believe in my product, then half of the battle is already won, because the customer is going to think this guy is so passionate about this product. He sometimes, like I told you, I get goosebumps when I talk about these things, simply because I know this works. Anyway, 38% is interesting and relevant content. And then 32% is high energy, And high energy is not like, talking very fast and all that. It's not that. High energy actually comes through your voice. And of course, during my full training session, the 1-day session that I normally conduct, I go into how to use your voice and all that. Anyway, 15% of your presentation, the convincing power, 15% is your visual slides, your slides. And if your slides are only handling or addressing or appealing to just one side of the brain, now you can talk about 7.5% because you've lost half of the power of your slides because you're not using or appealing to both sides of the brain. So you can imagine there 15%. And then interaction with the presenter or your attendees, that's 15%. So now if you think about it, the most powerful aspect of your presentation is actually interesting and relevant content. And then number 2 is high energy and passion. Of course, the rest of them, of course, we definitely need to have because we don't want to lose the other 15% and 30%. But definitely, we need to focus on our voice, our belief in our product or service, or whatever we are presenting. And we also need to make sure that we are taking care of both sides of their brain, whether, in terms of left and right side, logic, and also pleasing to the eye. All right, moving forward, we need to understand our audience. Okay, let me show you that first slide again. If you notice here, towards the middle, understanding your audience. So that's what I'm about to address here in this next slide, this one. Understanding our audience. Now, there are a few things we can do in order to understand our audience. Can somebody tell me what are some of the ideas? Okay, because I have actually mentioned a few of the ideas while I was introducing myself, but I need you guys to go ahead and type in Zoom or maybe even unmute and talk. What do you think we need to do or we should do in order to understand our audience? What do we need to do? Go ahead, type in the Zoom chat. Anybody? I'll just give it another 10, 15 seconds and I'll move forward. No problem, I'll tell you. All right, okay. Do a poll survey. KH Kong says, do a poll survey before your Zoom presentation. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. And that's basically in the beginning of the session today, we had a quick discussion with a couple of our participants to understand their challenges, what they go through, and so on. Let's say you are supposed to prepare a presentation, and that presentation is for a specific company that you need to sell a product or service to. So in order to understand what they are thinking, there you have a lot of sources nowadays, social media, internet, Google, digital space, all those places where you can understand what their company's aspirations are, what they want to do this year, what their company wants, how their company wins. So we need to understand that. And ultimately, if you notice in this slide, this guy is actually you or me. We are all in this together. So now this guy is trying to figure out what my customers want. I need to understand that so that I can make my presentation relevant. So what do they want? They want peace of mind. When they are looking to purchase or acquire a certain product or service, they don't want to make a mistake by choosing the wrong company. The wrong company doesn't mean that company's product or service is not good. The wrong company actually means that company's product or service was not relevant to their requirement. So when they are able to get the right product and choose the right company for their, as their vendor, they start feeling peace of mind. So what we want to do is when we are conducting our presentation, we want to address this. You will have actually a lot of peace of mind when you choose our service, simply because it's really completely relevant to what you need. Because according to my research, Mr. Customer, you are looking for this, that, and another. And my product or service actually matches each one of those things. Let me show you how. My first slide shows that the thing that you want, you see what I mean? We're basically trying to understand them, and we know that they want peace of mind. So we address that with our words and phrases and our facial expressions, our body language, and also, of course, our slides. Then what else do they want? They want reliability. They want their vendor or whoever they are taking their service from. They want reliability. So if we can talk about areas or features of our product or service that provides reliability, they will be attentive. They will focus. They will be engaged. Everybody wants peace of mind. Everybody wants a product or service to be reliable. Like example, these companies that give us these water machines like Coway, companies of that nature. I feel that Coway is quite reliable because I've been using Coway for more than a year, and there is nothing wrong with them. It's just reliable. And if somebody says, go to their competitor, I'll say no. Because why should I change? Because I'm able to rely on them. I have peace of mind that, the water is coming out the hot is hot and the cold is cold, and the machine never goes bad. And if there is a problem with it, they just simply come and fix it. And they have monthly technicians that come monthly and whatever they do, clean the machine or whatever. So it's reliable, and it gives me peace of mind that, the water quality is very good. So the moment somebody is able to enter my brain, because suppose I'm the customer, if they can enter my brain and understand what drives my decision-making process, then it's easy for them to convince me to buy their product. Okay. Quality. Customers want peace of mind, reliability, quality, high quality. Why would anybody want quality? People want quality because of bottom left-hand corner, peace of mind. High quality means peace of mind, things that last longer. Quality of service has to do with your experienced staff, people who provide the service. They have tons and tons of experience. That's high quality. And then people want that, and then we want to address that in our presentation. How does our product provide quality? What is it about the features of my product that give you the benefit of quality? Can you imagine if your presentation constantly talks about providing them quality, reliability, peace of mind, and of course, the next one, which is cost savings. So now you're talking about the left side of the brain, which talks about cost savings and quality. And then the right side of the brain, which is talking about relaxation, peace of mind, reliability. When we make a combination between these four things, we can guarantee that we will be considered, maybe if nothing else, we will be shortlisted for a second meeting to come and meet them again. And I think you know what I mean in corporate sales, getting shortlisted. And then, of course, we also need to understand that what kind of a pain the customer is experiencing without our product. And the pain they need to feel through our presentation, that they need some kind of a solution. Or if they already knew that they wanted a solution, then they need to feel that they need our solution. And how they will feel that they need our solution is by looking at the other four clouds or thought bubbles you see there: reliability, high quality, cost, savings, and of course, the idea of relaxation and peace of mind. So this is where the power of your, engagement, the power of persuasion or power of convincing comes in. And over the last 25 years, believe me, guys, if you want, I will swear to God that this is the process I use. And I'm able to close deals. I'm able to close $80,000 to $100,000 worth of training within 5 to 10 minutes, simply because all I do is engage. Just recently, we closed a deal with Naga National. I went in there. There were 10 or 11 decision makers in the panel that I was presenting to, And I did not tell them any features of my training. All I did, talk about this, you know, and ask them questions. Just simply ask them questions. Have eye contact with them, sit up straight or stand up straight, ask them questions. How are you feeling? What's going on with your customers? Why is it that I'm here? Why are you guys spending so much time listening to me? There must be something that you're looking for me to say. You know, what issue are you going through? So when we do all of that, we are able to convince these people. And I think, you know, my partner Sue Boy, who's also here with us, she can actually vouch for the fact that when we do this kind of presentation, our competitors cannot touch us, simply because the competitors will go in there and start talking about, this is what I conduct training. I teach people how to listen. I teach people how to ask questions. I teach. So the customer is thinking, that doesn't match what I'm thinking. Customer wants to know, how are you going to help me increase my sales, man? I want to know how you're going to get my people to become so skilled that they will increase their sales. So I need to bang on that. You know, the sales manager wants peace of mind, you know, that his salespeople are fully trained, well trained, they will be able to reach those targets. So understanding the audience ultimately means what they are thinking, what benefits they want. And your product normally would actually help you understand your the audience also. You know, like let's say in the case of my friend Nick Faris, your client is Customs Malaysia. So you and your IT services that you provide, of course, your IT services are providing a certain level of quality, reliability, peace of mind. Maybe you are also giving them some kind of discount to make it a cost-saving thing. Go like this, if I'm right. Is that what you're doing? Okay. So this is ultimately it, guys. You know, understanding what they want and then simply talking about it by helping them use both sides of their brain and get them convinced. Okay, let's move forward. Okay. This slide actually supports the previous slide. But what I'm talking about here is basically when we talk to people, the best way to convince somebody to take your product or service is to create positive or negative pictures in their mind. You know, like let's give you an example, very quick example. I remember a couple of years ago, we had a problem with dengue fever. Dengue was a big, a big problem in Malaysia and some other countries also. So there was an insurance company that asked me to come and train their people because they had just developed a new insurance product, which was it's called dengue insurance. So I normally, when I go to call centers to train them, I will go 1 or 2 days before the training, and I'll listen to their calls to see what mistakes they are making and what things they're doing that are good. So when I listened to their calls, they were basically saying like this, you know, hi, good morning, I'm so-and-so calling from this insurance company. We have dengue insurance available now. If you'd like to protect your family, I'll be happy to activate your policy for you. So this is what they were doing. Guess what? They were having really big problems selling because people were not getting engaged enough to buy. So once I understood that, I conducted the training, and in the training, I showed them how to create, you know, pictures in their mind to let them realize that they are at risk of dengue fever. Before I even try to sell them my insurance policy, I need to get them to realize that they are at risk, you know. So I showed them how to ask the right questions, you know, things like, do you live close to a lake? Is there a children's park close to your house? In your garage, do you have any plants that you water, you know, on a daily basis? Do you have small children that play around those parks and around those plants? What I'm doing is asking them those questions and get them to picture, you know, that they are at risk. Oh my God, my 5-year-old daughter is playing around that plant, which means we are at risk. So when I do that, I'm creating that negative picture in their mind. What that does is it then makes them feel like they need a solution. And then, of course, we would create a picture of the solution. You know, what is the picture of the solution? In case they do get, you know, somebody in their family gets bitten, you know, by the dengue mosquito, now they need to go to the doctor or go to the hospital. You know, and dengue was a special treatment. You would have to go to the hospital. So this is where the insurance comes in. You know, in case, if God forbid, if it does happen, you know, you get bitten by the dengue mosquito, what the picture in the mind would be convenience. peace of mind. You don't have to worry about money. You just simply come in. We will take all kinds of care for you. We will also do this, whatever hospital benefit, this benefit, that benefit. That's when we start creating pictures of the solution. So the idea in a convincing presentation is to remind them of the pain they are going through. And at the same time, remind them or tell them, create that picture of the relaxation and peace of mind that they will enjoy, when they go ahead and take the product. Ultimately, that is what becomes an emotional win. And I think one of my friends in the Zoom chat just now had said, KH Kong had said, it should help solve my problem. So if you notice, towards the bottom of this slide, solving problems versus pitching product features. So when we can tell them that we understand the problem and create that picture in their mind of reminding them of the pain that they are feeling, having that problem, and then we create the picture of the solution. So ultimately, what are we doing? We are not really selling anything. We are solving their problems. People want their problems solved, and they will pay dearly if they are convinced that you will solve their problem. Okay. Anyway, until now, can somebody give me some feedback as to whatever we have discussed until now, guys? I need you guys to tell me, how do you feel about this? Just be creative about your answer. Until now, the webinar has not ended yet, but I need to know what your feedback is until now. What do you think? What do you think of this? The things that I've shown you just now. Do you feel this is going to help you? The idea of creating pictures, the idea of understanding your audience and the left and right side of your brain, all of these things. Do you feel this will be something that you can actually utilize in your actual presentations? Tell me. I'm here. I want to know. Guys, I will not move forward unless I have some kind of a feedback. Was I on mute when I was talking? Somebody, Nick, what do you think? How do you create a picture for something new without a track record? Example, virtual conference and exhibition. Well, not a problem. I mean, you can create pictures because you know how your product or the conference or exhibition, what problem it solves. Once you know what problem it solves, so first picture that you would create is without your product, what they are going through or what they would go through. And then with your product, what kind of peace of mind they would have. Now, are you selling virtual conferences and exhibitions? Okay. Okay. All right, Chad. So if that's the case, because one of my one of our clients was PICC, Putrajaya International Conference. I think the PICC line Putrajaya, and I do remember we showed them how to create those pictures in people's minds so that they can use their premises, if that's the case. But if you are selling conferences, ultimately it's about the picture would be who is going to attend the conference. The audience for that conference, is that audience really relevant to your industry? And you need to understand your customer first. If that audience is relevant to their industry, then you talk about that audience. Sir, the CEO for Shell Malaysia will be joining us in that conference, and he will be sharing with us the pitfalls they have experienced, over the last 1 year. The director of business development for this company will be joining us, some large organization, and then show them that you will be sitting among these icons in the industry that will show you the best practices. So when you do that, you are creating these pictures in their mind. Your company doesn't have to be successful, man, or known. Your company could be, not so known company, but if you can create those pictures, you're already developing a reputation. Okay. KH Kong says, I'm not in sales, but I can use your tips in other situations, for example, job interviews. Absolutely, you can. Definitely, you can. And also Chad says, yes. Nazi says, how to tackle customer sentimental on market conditions. Example, economics bad, price have to be low. Well, absolutely. This is where creating value comes in. You can sell pretty much anything to anybody as long as the value is there and they understand that if they need your product, if they need the product, and if you are able to create a convenience for them to buy it, let's say you are charging $100,000 for your product, right? And you know that times are bad, they cannot pay 100,000, then of course, you will be entering their brain to understand the issue that they're facing. First of all, we need to know whether they actually want the product or not. Because guess what? I want a Ferrari, I want a Ferrari, but can I afford to pay the, $1 million to buy a Ferrari? Definitely I want a Ferrari, but if they allow me to pay like 1,000 ringgit a month, I'll buy the Ferrari now. So ultimately the idea is how you will adjust and create your, customize your presentation or your product in such a way, that is appealing to them. If banks did not finance cars, would anybody buy a car? If banks didn't finance houses, would anybody buy, no matter how rich you are? I don't think you would want to buy a $10 million house cash, unless you are, these Denzel Washington and all these superstars in Hollywood. Most people have to finance things. What have banks done? What they have done is they make that little bit of interest, but they provide such a great convenience for us. If I cannot pay 400,000 ringgit for a Mercedes, I can still drive a Mercedes because I can pay 2,500 to 3,000 ringgit a month for it. So it all market conditions, economy is bad prices and all that can be covered, all that can be done. You can engage those customers also, just through adjusting your product by understanding their brain, understanding what drives their decision making, what they really want. I mean, if I want to pay for my, if I want I have 4 kids, and the first 3 are in universities right now. Each one of the universities is costing me about 15 to 20,000 ringgit a year. So now if they said, sir, you have to pay upfront for the full fee. So now that's 25,000 multiplied by 3, 75,000 ringgit. I'll say to my son, go and get a job and pay for your education. But no, what does the university do? They charge you per semester, So what that does, it creates conveniences for people who are paying for their kids' education. So it doesn't matter how bad the situation is in terms of financial economy is bad and all that. What matters is how you are able to be creative and make it into a sellable, engaging, convincing situation in terms of your presentation. Nick Faris, Nick Faris says, understand how to expedite to close deal with customers, not share only facts, need to play with emotions. Absolutely. I want you to remove the word play, because that becomes emotional manipulation. What we are doing is we're not playing with their emotions. We're actually understanding their emotions and then being logical about it and showing them emotionally why they should take our product. So definitely your feedback is absolutely correct. I would just simply change the word play to handle or appeal to emotions. And Amira says, how to create picture if your product brand is low? Any tips? In other words, Amira, are you saying that the product brand, like unknown, like not a very known brand? Is that what you're saying? Amira? Yes, okay. If your product brand is low, like, okay, about 25 years ago, nobody knew that there is a trainer who's, goes into call centers and conducts training. I was a very low brand. People didn't know about me. What I did was basically, first of all, understand what issues my product can resolve for the customer. If my product can last very long, if my product is if I'm convinced that my product can last very long, it's high quality, if I'm convinced that my product is exactly what this customer needs, which means if I understand the customer. If you notice, I'm going back to the same thing again. No matter whether your brand is low or it's not very well known in the country or all of that, it doesn't really matter as long as you can show them what pain you will be able to relieve for these people. The moment you're able to show them that, they will go for your product. So creating pictures is about you know, because you understand your product, you have product knowledge. So you can see benefit one, feature one. Okay, this first feature, what problem is this feature solving for the customer? Then you create that picture in your own mind and write out one or two sentences on a piece of paper describing that picture. And then, of course, 2 or 3 or 4 features of your product, you have now written down on a piece of paper the different feature one. This is the picture. The negative picture, you need this feature, and then if you have this feature, this is how you will enjoy it. So those pictures, yes, you can do that with no matter whether it's the product is famous or not. Don't worry about that, Amira. Okay, all right, let's move forward a bit. I was just talking about the left and right brain. I'm just going to give you some examples. We've already gone 1 hour, guys. So let me just go very quickly, and I think you guys have other things to do also. Oh, sorry. If you notice here, left side of the brain, it's all about reason, science, strategy, reality, analytics, logic, numbers, everything. And the right side of the brain, art, wishes, happiness, you know, imagination, love, you know, peace, creativity, all the hippie type of things, you know, back in the 70s. So everything on the right-hand side has to do with that. So everyone in the world, including yourselves, you guys are also the same. Our brains are made that way. God had a way of doing that for us. So because of that reason, we have to appeal to the complete brain, you know, like I was mentioning earlier. If we were just to appeal to the left side of the brain and just show them cost savings and numbers and numbers and numbers, we are not really being too appealing in our presentation. You know, in other words, engaging them and keeping them interested. But if we can say something logical and at the same time show them how it's going to help them overcome a little an emotional issue, then it becomes appealing. So that's where the left and right brain comes in. I'm going to go a bit faster now. Then let's look at this. Here you go. Low impact presentation slides, targeting only half of the brain. If you look at these slides, can you imagine if you were sitting there and I started showing you that first slide, you know, with all the text, and then the second, all of these slides are, I think you will probably tell me to just shut the hell up and probably say, okay, Mr. Shahrukh, thank you very much. We will think about it and we will get back to you. Because I am only trying to appeal to the left logical side of the brain. And this is not very attractive. This is all just very logical stuff, everything logical. Now, if you want to look at appealing slides that take care of both sides of the brain, that would be this type of slides. High impact, targeting both sides, you know. You can see, and you know, it's very simple. All you have to do is go to Google and just type presentation slide templates, you know, and go to maybe even Google Images and just type presentation slide templates, or maybe you can say high-tech slide templates, or you know, engaging templates for PowerPoint presentations. Just type that, and you will find some of these slides. You will also find there, you know. And then don't copy these slides, because all of these pictures, then you will be replacing with the pictures that are relevant to your product. You know, like if you notice in my hang on. Like this slide, if I had taken this from somebody else's template, I would just simply remove their text and insert my text inside there. Maybe the picture of the girl who's very engaged. As you can see, her eyes are glued to the screen, you know. So that's the reason why I'm using this image, simply because of the fact that she's just focusing so much, and she has a very slight smile on her face, showing that she's interested in the presentation. You know, so the slides have to do that. They have to appeal to that side of the brain. And all you have to do is get some of those templates. And also Microsoft PowerPoint, I think 2016 onwards, they have this feature where you can click on this on the top ribbon, the word design. So you just click on the word design, and automatically on the right hand side, all kinds of choices of designs come up. Suppose you type, you know, in your, let's say in the case of Nick, for example, IT services. You just simply type in one slide, IT services, and click on the word design, you know, but it has to be Microsoft Office 2016 and later. So when you type design, on the right hand side, you'll get all kinds of different options of design. You just pick one and it'll automatically take you into a design like this. Okay. So that is, you do that simply so that you can appeal to the right side of the brain, the emotional side. Okay, let me go back to the, okay, so this one. So this is what I was trying to say about the, in terms of choosing the slides that are appealing to the audience's eyes. They want to see the slide. If you notice, I was trying to be a little funny, I could have used just a simple, thumbs up, but what did I do? I chose the one which has the coronavirus mask on it, just so that it has a little aspect of comedy also inside there. So we have to be that way. We have to think with the right side and both the left side of the brain. Okay, just a little bit about body language and then we can stop, guys, okay, because we've already gone beyond. I don't know if you know that body language in a presentation is actually 55% of the communication, 55% of your communication is body language. 38%, I know, 38% is like, your voice, the way you use your voice, maybe your tone, your pitch, your volume, how fast you talk, how slow you talk. That's, 38%. And then only 7% is your words. The words you say, only 7% impact. So most of the impact has to do with body language, 55% of your presentation. So let me give you some tips on that. Here it comes very quickly. I'm going to give you the tips very fast. All right. First one, sit tall. Okay. If you notice, I was like constantly in your face. Did you notice that? Because in online presentations, we have to exaggerate a little bit more. In a face-to-face presentation, I wouldn't be so in your face, But because this is an online presentation, I have to show you a little bit more energy to keep you excited and to keep you engaged. So sit tall. Imagine there's like a string, pulling your collar up. That means it has to keep you straight up. Just imagine that string. So the moment you imagine the string, you are straight up, which tells the customer you are high energy, you are confident. If I stand up straight, I'm showing all kinds of attractive features, things like confidence, high energy, intelligence, you name it. I've got all of those just by sitting up straight and showing them that I'm here and I'm confident, and then smile and look at the camera. So with your eye contact with the camera, eye contact with a smile, it has a lot of power, guys, Of course, there's another, I won't say, there's something else I was about to say, but I think I won't say. Maybe if you attend my full session, that one-day session, maybe there I will say some of those things that are still in the back of my mind. I want to say it, but I cannot say it right now. But anyway, don't look down while you are talking. Like let's say you've got your mobile phone and you are doing online presentation. So you had some kind of a notification that came. So while you are talking, you do this. The moment you do this, you have actually lost a few points in the customer's mind. What you need to do is continuously stay focused in the camera, or if you want, you can just move your, where you can actually see yourself when you're talking, right? There's a little screen that shows small screen. You can even just move the screen towards the middle of the page and just keep looking at that. It'll seem like you're looking at the camera. All right, then next one, give feedback, nod your head when others talk. I think you might have noticed that when you guys give me your feedback, I'm doing like this, constantly just doing this. And I'm also doing this, what am I doing? I'm actually telling you that your feedback actually matters to me. I am interested in your feedback. That's what nodding the head and using the thumbs up, this makes a lot of difference. And I will also, like, when I ask customers questions, because in the middle of a presentation, you need to do probing. Probing means asking questions, leading questions, and fact-finding questions. So when I ask the questions and they answer, I cannot just sit like this while they're talking. I actually have to go like this. I see, oh, okay, I see, I understand, I see, like that. So what that does is keeps them engaged. This is all about the power of body language. Why? Because 55% of your presentation has to do with that. How are we going to convince people to buy our product if we don't use the power of that 55%? So if you look at these three things, sit tall, collar being pulled by some string on the ceiling, smile, look at the camera, don't look down, don't look at your handphone, give them feedback, nod your head, ask for feedback, thumbs up, thumbs down, keep them engaged. You know, this is what we need to do in order to keep them engaged. Also, mirror, insist, hang on, insist that your audience open their video, then mirror their body language. Can somebody tell me, what does it mean by mirroring the body language? What does that mean? Can anybody tell me? Mirror the body language. Oh, KH Kong, I said, any color scheme would you suggest, strong versus pastel versus earthy colors? Actually, the colors actually depend upon your product or service. Anyway, follow their body. Mirroring means follow their body language. Absolutely. And I want to address KH Kong because I'm sorry I didn't see that when you had typed it. The color scheme of your slides ultimately has to do with your understanding of the mindset of your audience. Yeah, that's important. So the color scheme all has to do with your understanding of, I'm talking about the slides, not the background of my background that you can see right now, the black background. Follow their moves. Yes. So mirroring actually means if the customer is smiling, you smile. If the customer is serious, you become a little serious and ask a question. Like if I notice, like I can see Nick Fares and Edney's face right now. So I'm actually working off of their expressions. You wouldn't believe this. The moment Nick Fares starts smiling, all of a sudden I automatically start smiling. What am I doing? I'm actually mirroring your expressions. And what I normally would do, like if I'm trying to sell a product or service, I would request for my audience to turn on their video because they wouldn't realize it, but that gives me more power to create the kind of body language I need to create. Okay, and then last one for the body language, arms folded at 90% at the elbow, movements fit in the frame. What that basically means is that, right now, let me go like this a little bit. My arms, they are always at a 90 degrees angle, 90 degrees, folded at 90 degrees. Okay, so when I do that, so when I talk to you, you can then see both my hands. And at the same time, you will not see my hands leaving the screen. They are constantly within the screen. So that I can do this, so I can do this, so I can do this, so I can do whatever I need to do with my hands because of the fact that my arms are folded at a 90 degrees angle. So that, because you have to use your body language, you have to sit up straight and you have to look at them and you use your movements and become convincing. So this part, and like I said, 55% of your presentation has to do with this. So follow this procedure and of course, you will feel that you are quite successful in terms of that. Now, what I showed you in this 1 hour actually does not is not complete. It's not a full training session. Ultimately, all I was doing was trying to create some kind of an awareness for you, so that you could immediately go back and maybe use some of the things that I've taught you in terms of body language and the how to use the left and right side of brain and so on. However, my recommendation is for you to attend my full day session. Why I say that is because not only will we be elaborating a little bit more on whatever I've shown you now, I will also be showing you how to use the platform, like Zoom or, whatever platform that we are using, Google Meets and Microsoft MS Teams and all that. We need to understand those platforms because they have things like breakout rooms and, chat and whatever, features that you can see, like how many participants I have and, mute video, mute sound, remote control, annotate, all of those things we need to understand. We need to be perfect at using that platform. We need to really, really understand the main features that we need. So I'll be showing you in that full day session, also engaging and convincing through voice. I think you guys might have noticed that I'm really, really using my voice to show you, to create that impact of excitement and energy, you know. But I'll show you how to do that in that full session. Asking questions, what kind of questions we need to ask, how to engage them by asking them the right leading questions or fact-finding questions, or whatever kind of questions we need according to our product or service. Then, of course, creating desirable pictures in the audience's mind, you know. I will show you how to do that. But all that has to be, you know, I need more time to do that, guys. This 1 hour wouldn't give me that kind of a, you know, flexibility to use the time, get you guys engaged, maybe put you guys in some kind of groups and get you to create some kind of presentations. And, you know, that's where people start learning in an activity-based session. And then, of course, you know, in the full session, I would also ask you to do mock presentations, maybe a 1 minute, 2 minute presentation per person, so that everybody understands and is able to actually go back and do those presentations in the right way. All right. And just very quickly, if you do attend this, you know, decide to attend this program, I think it's coming up towards the end of this month, maybe June, June 29th, 30th. If you want to attend this program, I would suggest you save some money now. In the sense that you just go ahead and try to register. If you are interested in attending, just go ahead and register for it. My partner Sue Boy and my other partners will help you with that. And if you look at the Zoom chat right now, there is a link there. You can simply click on that link and go and register there. And then they will help you follow through, you know, if you know, when you attend. This price actually does not, you know, there's no SST added because it's all included in that. And another thing, if you decide, you notice I put there special price. If you decide to register today, then my partners will actually tell you what the special price is. And that we will just leave it as a mystery. If you are interested to find out that special price, just definitely go ahead and you know, try to communicate with our company. Just click on that link and go. If we see you registered today, of course, you will have that special price, which is even lower than $790. All right, that brings me to a Q&A. If you guys have any questions, we can spend 5 minutes answering more, because I know we've done a lot of Q&A during this session also until now. But if you have further questions, anything more that you're not sure about, I'm here. I'm going to go silent now, and I'm going to wait for your questions. Q&A, go ahead. Think about what you want to ask me now. Of course, in the next 1 minute or two, if there are no questions, then we will just go ahead and close the session. Useful tips, Shahrukh. Is this a question, or are you telling me that the tips I gave were useful? Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, you know, I have to put myself in your shoes when I try to develop all of the tips and you know, modules to show you. So it needs to engage you. And the only way it will engage is if I'm talking your language, or if I am, you know, in your brain, understanding your brain. Anybody else? Any questions? All right. I noticed that there are no more questions. In that case, I will just go ahead and, thank you very much, everyone who attended and stayed with us until now. I would hope to see you again towards the end of the month, where I will give you a full day of presentation skills training. Now, for Shahrukh Mughal, it's over and out, and moving on towards my partner Sue Boy, who will help us close the session. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Shahrukh. Can we give him a big clap? You know where the clap is? In the reaction button. You can just clap for him, or, you know, if you're showing us your camera, clap for him. Thank you so much for spending the time and actually the effort to actually prepare this webinar for you. Thank you. We have learned a lot actually within this 1 hour because of your interaction. You asked a lot of pertinent questions that is relevant to you, and it's, I'm sure it will help you a lot. All right. Following the questions, I'd just like to ask, yeah, you have a lot of questions and we have already given you some answers. If we were to compile the answers and, the questions and prepare the answers back and send it back to you, would you like to have a copy of that, or that's fine? Can I just find out if you'd like to have a copy of the questions and the answers that come up from this event, and then you like a copy, or you don't need that at all? Okay,
Kong says,
great. Yeah. Some people are visual, and if they can come back with a record, I think that would be excellent. Usually during free webinars and things like that, people don't do that. They just talk, and then goodbye to you. But yeah, chat says a copy would be nice. That would be extra effort that would be on our part. Yeah, exactly. This is what we wanted to give a great value, because these are important questions that will help you in your career, in your business. And if you have a record of it, you can actually cascade down to other people, or you review it to yourself as well. That will be extra effort from our side, and we will get our editor to actually do that for you if you like. Fariha says appreciate that. Okay, so these 3 people we will send to you, yeah, because you liked it. The rest of the people, I don't know, because there is no feedback. So if that's not useful to you, then we will not do that for you. We don't want to, cram up your spam box, your mailbox and things like that. Thank you so much for your effort. For Annie, thank you for answering the questions. You asked about the language thing, right? Whether or not you should learn the language of the participants. Personally, from our experience in training for 21 years, if you're training a group of foreign people, and if your whole group is foreign, I used to train in Cambodia and Thailand and Vietnam a lot. And all of them actually have to pass this diploma and degree courses that I'm running. And they're all speaking in their language and not in English, but they have to pass in English. So that is a big challenge for me. First, I need to teach them the language, and then after to teach them the content. So what I do in your case, I think they're all in Malaysia, but they're all foreigners. So if you want to engage them, from my experience, is you learn a few words that will be very useful for you, because when you speak their language, they feel that you're with them. So then you actually gain their what do you call that, attention, and then they'll come back to say, hey, this is pretty useful, and he understands that we are foreigners, we don't understand too much of the local language, but we are striving and then learning. So that would be excellent. And Keish Kong actually asked Cheryl whether the pastel colors or strong colors matters, and when you're doing your slides. It actually depends on what kind of presentation you are doing. If you're selling feminine products, maybe pastel color will do. But if you're doing corporate like us, you notice that we're all wearing black or white or very serious colors, because we talk real business and real stuff that changed mind and change world and change things. So solid color for serious topics, fun colors for less serious and enjoyment kind of training, right, Cheryl?
Yes, right. Hey, Sue, shall we do a quick group photo?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, let's do the group photo, and then we can let them go.
You want to turn on your camera? We do a snapshot, and then this one will come back to you. My
everybody, please turn on your camera.
Oh, finally we see people. Wow.
There you are. That's everybody right there.
Okay. Ready. Hi, Ayman. Okay. Nazrul, thank you. Hi, Lina, Sharifa, Chad, Fariha. Okay, are we ready? Is one? Hello, Eddie, Faris. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Smile. Chikla. This is how we take a group photo. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you again. The next course Cheryl is doing is 29 and 30th. Just half a day for each day. Come prepared with your questions, and also we will be doing mock presentation like this. So we will pass you the mic, and then you will talk like this. Okay. So for now, you can emulate Cheryl and me, how we sit and how much you can see us. This is how it is. And your background, what is it that you want to put at the background is very important. That itself will be a visual appeal to actually capture and engage your participants. All right. So if you have no questions, then we'll end now. But thank you very much for spending your morning here. We hope you have a great time. Nodding, thank you. Click on the link, check it out what you will get. If you'd like to sign up, it's going to be a special prize for us, for you only. All right. So without further ado, for those 3 people, we will get you your Q&A, what do you call it?
The answers to their questions.
The answers to the questions. We will give you a compilation of that. Give us some time. Nick says send to him as well. Okay. Those who ask shall get. All right.
All right.
So thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a good night, a good morning. We are live on FB as well. So if you want a copy of this, you can go to our Facebook, iTraining Experts, and review this so that it will benefit you more. And also remember, this is how to convince, and how to sell online. Very, very impactful and very innovative program that is brought to you by Cheryl. So thank you very much, Jack. Thank you for coming, and goodbye to all of you. Stay in touch. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye. Thank you.